Hi, this is Anna Imagination, and welcome to Philosophical Coffee. I don't have a plan. I never have a plan. In fact, I'm not even prepared. I'm just sitting here. So I have a game I am building, and I love games. I love making games. I love stories. I love role playing. So I have a game that I started putting together. And when I started to put together the game, it just fell together beautifully. So it is 3 parts and it is tied into a whole bunch of Easter eggs. But I don't want to talk about the game. I had everything written up yesterday and then I lost it. That's what happened. And I'm trying to get myself back together again, restabilize. And I've been avoiding YouTube. And I don't know why. I think it's because, I don't know. I have no idea why. I don't know. So I figured I would just throw myself into the deep end of the pool, which is why I'm not prepared. And I would just start talking. I'm at that point where my work is done. Really, it's done. And now I'm just writing out 12 rules, logical code, the game, and I found home. I found friendship. Once upon a time, I went on a journey, and I thought the journey was going to be a short journey. It's not. And when it was about half over, I thought it was almost done. And then it wasn't. It was such a long fucking journey that it took 20 years to do part 1. And then it did 20 years to do, well, how long did it take to do the second part? It took 15 years to do the second part. And then it took 9 years to do the third part. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that is it. So 20 years to do part 1, 15 years to do part 2, and then 9 years to do part 3. But part 3 was divided in 2 phases. 2 phases. The first one was 5 years, and then it was 4 years. So I thought I was done with this journey about 4 different times. And I then realized about halfway through, no, not even, it was like a year ago, that I started to realize the scope. I mean, the big fucking ass scope of this journey. It's the journey that everyone goes on. It's the journey that no one ever talks about. The journey. And the best way I can explain it is there's a virus that's going around. Now, don't freak out. It's not that kind of a virus. It's a different kind of a virus. And it only affects a certain number of people. It only affects a certain type of person. I need paper. So the type of virus that this thing is, this is not going to work out. I need my notebook. Oh, yes, I left it in my room. That's where it is. I left it on my, I spent the whole day yesterday hanging out with my girlfriend, smoking weed. It was a joyous day for 5 hours while we hypothesized about life, the universe, and everything. And I did a lot while I was high, and I lost track of everything. I have not smoked weed until, well, April 20th came, and then I was like, I lost all self-control. I was fine right up until 420, and then I'm like, nope, no, you cannot not smoke weed on 420. You cannot claim to be what I am and then not smoke weed when 420 comes around. So, but then after that, I'm like, oh, I'm done. I'm so done. All right, so here's the deal. I'm getting my thoughts together. So I found a way to explain all of this. And the best way to explain it is there is a kind of virus going around. And this virus is not lethal. This virus is just, I hate the word virus, but it's really let's say it's viral. Let's say it's a thing and it's viral. It's like a fever, but it's different. So it only affects a certain number of people, a certain type of person. It affects neurodivergence. It affects, let me go ahead and write this down because I had the list all done yesterday in my weedness, and then my computer crashed and I lost it all. So all of my work yesterday was gone. And when you know what to look for, it's beautiful. Like, you're set. And okay, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and write this down. So this virus only affects people who are neurodivergent. And this is a hypothetical virus. This is not like a real thing. This is just something that I can like communicate. I'm looking for words to help me communicate my point. So neurodivergent. Nerds are affected by this a lot. If you have ADHD, you are affected by it. People who are diagnosed with schizophrenia, they are affected by it. And people who are on the spectrum can be affected by it. People who have been labeled as black sheep. If you've ever been called insane or weird. Millennials. If you are a rebel parent, you most likely have been affected by it. So this thing inside of all of us basically is, if you've ever had a midlife crisis, teens have it. And if you were ever labeled a rebellious teen, and there's going to be some people who are like, well, these are all of me. Yeah, that's right. So all of these people are the majority of an example of who gets this virus. And this virus basically drives you to become aware. It's more like an awareness virus. Let's call it an awareness virus. That's a really good way of putting that. This is an awareness virus. And this awareness virus makes you aware that something is up. Now, around the time that it hits, there's like stages. There's very much stages of this. And stage 1 is a significant realization that you are unhappy, miserable, and you can't stand it anymore. That's really it. You can't stand it anymore. You're done. You are done. And this is usually the last straw. I'm going to call this the last straw stage. That's a really good way to explain what this is. The last straw stage. So when you're at the last straw stage, you get to that point where you're done. You've been miserable. You've been trying. It's like you're trying to push this boulder up a hill, and you finally reached that point. You've done everything that they told you should do. You want to be happy, they said, and this is where it starts. They promised you want to be happy, follow these 10 commandments and pursue, there you go, the American dream. There you go. Do you remember this lie? Do you remember it? This is the moment where they said to us, you want to be happy, then follow the 10 commandments and pursue the American dream. Well, we all did that. We all fucking did that. And no one's happy. So I took a huge step back a long time ago, about 40 years ago. Actually, 42 years to be exact. 42 years to be exact. My girlfriend and I calculated it last night, and we got it. It's 42 years ago. So 42 years ago, I decided to just find my own way. That's what I decided to do. I decided to just find my own way. And I went a different route. Now, the way I went, there was no data. It was very much I had a machete and I was just cutting back my own grass. So I was very much I made my own path. And my path led me to this point. So here I am now going, all right, so there's an awareness virus going around. and it doesn't have a name, which is why this is so complicated. The only reason why this is hard is because this doesn't have a name. So we're going to give it a name so that we can actually identify this thing. So I'm going to call this the awareness virus. It actually has many other names, but for where we are with this stage, we're going to just call it the awareness virus. The awareness virus is when you finally realize that the 10 Commandments and the pursuit of the American dream do not lead to happiness. So now you're asking the question, well, then what the fuck does? And what the fuck does? And that's the big question. That's the one, well, that's the one we've been looking for. So it took me 42 years. And I was able to locate the 12 ethical perspectives, which my channel is all about, and that's literally all my channel is about, is the 12 perspectives. It's how to go through them, what they look like, how you can identify them. And there's two sides to this coin. There's the 12 ethical stages that you go through, which is the journey. And then over here is the story game. So there is the story game, which is part of this, and there is the journey. Of course there is the journey. Now, I like to call the journey something else because it really makes it a lot easier to communicate all of this. And what I like to call it, let's see if I can remember it, because I deleted it yesterday or my computer crashed and I lost all of it. So let's see if I can remember it. Oh, I remember that did not go down there. It went down over my other thing. All right, let's go ahead and pull it from my Triadic Healing. Triadic Healing Part 1 is now available for free. Part 1A. It's the first 6 ethics for free, so you can grab that if you want. That's at the link below. So let me just take a look here at what we would call this. It was, oh, good God. I got to figure out. Oh, I can go this way with it. That'll be a lot faster. Aha. Okay, here we go. One moment. Okay, that took it back a lot. No, wait. Give me just a minute. I'm looking for it. Once I have the words here, I'll be able to am I in the wrong story? Oh, here it is. Story stepping. Story stepping is part of it. Life story. I am looking for this particular phrase, and it was wonderful. It's literally like a life journey. And we all go through, well, we don't all go through it, but it's happening a lot lately. A lot of it is happening. And a lot of people no one's talking. Everyone's talking about, but no one has a name for it. And that's the problem. That's exactly what the issue is it has a name, but no one's using it. And so it's like let's just sit down and talk about this for a minute. Let's literally just kind of sit down and discuss it. So the story game or the journey, I'll figure it out later. I'll have to go back through all my notes. So this is literally a journey into the self. You know what? Actually, I've already named that because I have a whole bunch of journey into the self. That is what this is. It's the journey into the self. Okay. Or your self journey. There you go. I already named this. Yeah, I'm just waking up here. So give me a minute. So the story game is one aspect. And the story game is what I refer to as, this is the fun way around. And it's really I believe I used the words nerd jizz yesterday. So that's really a good way, is if you are a nerd or if you identify with any nerd fandom, the only way the story game can be identified is it's nerd jizz. So you can go the route of nerd jizz, or you can just do the journey into the self, which is the self journey. And it's hard. It's really fucking hard. It's really fucking hard, but it doesn't have to be as hard as it is. It's like calculus is hard, right? Calculus is hard, but it's harder if you start with calculus. If you start with math, it's not hard. But if you start with, I'm going to just jump right into calculus. Have you ever multiplied? No, I'm just going to start with calculus. Well, calculus is going to be hard. It's that kind of hard. It's the kind of hard of, I'm going to learn how to cook, but I don't want anyone to teach me. It's that kind of hard. Now, You can have a teacher who says, so there's this dude named Euclid, and he did a lot of math stuff before you. And there's another guy called Pythagoras and another guy named Newton. So you can do math on your own without help. That's fucking hard. Or you can learn what Euclid, Pythagoras, and Newton did to make your life a lot easier. So imagine studying math without Euclid, Pythagoras, or Newton's work. That means you are reinventing the wheel. It means you are literally rebuilding mathematics from the ground up. You're building math out of scratch. That's what you're doing. That is exactly what you're doing. Now, the journey into the self, or the self journey, you have a few options. You can build it from scratch, which is what everybody is doing. They're building it from scratch. But I'm going to tell you, it took me 40 years to do it. It took me 40 years to do it. So I have the notes, the documents, and everything, and I've summarized it into this nice little 3-month thing, literally 3 months. And when I finally figured it out, when I was able to condense it all, I had it done in 8 months. Now, that was the first run through. I was patient zero. So it was 40 years of work and then 8 months of application. And yeah, I know it's going to take people a lot less time because I'm the first model. So after you figure it out and then you apply the code and then you've got the code, so there you go. So you can do it from scratch, but I'm warning you, it took me 42 years to complete the journey. 40 to 42 years to complete the journey, depending upon where you want to start me. The other option is you can play the game, which is free. It's awesome. It's basically a Dungeons and Dragons game, but we're going to call it something different. So it's just Nerd Jizz. That is the name of this, Nerd Jizz. And if you don't want to play the game, if you are not a game person, or if you are not at all interested in doing nerdy things, that is okay. You can do the self journey, and I have Triadic Healing Part 1 for free. Part 1A for free. And that will definitely kick you start off into the first 6 perspectives. So that's what I've been working on and putting together for a while now. And my books are done. The game is done. I have to edit it and tweak it. And I'm getting ready to start giving it out to people. The game is free. And Triadic Healing Part 6 is our Part 1A is free. And I'm still just trying to wrap my head around all of this. I'm processing it. Today is a processing day. That's really what it is. It's a processing day. And I am basically this awareness virus. I'm noticing that a lot of people are, well, I'm watching it left and right, people becoming more and more aware. And if you're smart, if you have ever had your intelligence questioned and you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, it's literally a feeling like you're the smartest person in the room. If you have ever felt like that, you are most likely already caught the virus. And there's something I call foundationals, which are basically people who are in the first, second, third, fourth perspective. Their perspectives are equivalent to children. They are not ready for this. Not at all. In fact, this scares the fuck out of them because they're not there yet. It scares the fuck out of them like a big scary storm can scare the fuck out of a 2-year-old. So when you look at it, if you're ready for it, you can understand why it's like so fucking scary. But, well, that's the whole point. The first ethic is courage. Courage to overcome the fear of the storm and do it anyway. That's the first challenge. So the self journey is composed of 24 trials, literally trials. And This is not, it's a secret, but it's not a secret. Oh, but it's a secret and it's hidden. You have to be a genius to figure it out. You do. You have to be a genius to see it and to figure it out. But the more you study it, the more of a genius you become. And there's been a game, a secret game that all the geniuses in all the world have been playing since day one. And if you're a genius, you've stumbled upon it already. You've started to put things together. That's called pattern recognition in mathematics. And that's where the virus begins, is when you start to realize something's up. And what you've stumbled upon is what I call the story game or the story code. And the story game or the story code is basically every genius working together in a team over the last 2,000 years. 2,000 years, every genius has contributed to the secret silent game. Da Vinci was one of them. And if you know the path, which is called mathematical sequencing, and if you know the catalyst, then you can very easily follow the entire game throughout all of history for 2,000 years, and you will have all the components and pieces of the puzzle to put them together and figure out what all of them have figured out and what they're all trying to say. History has not been kind to intelligent people. In fact, they kill us. They kill us. They enslave us. They make us create weapons of warfare for them. And every time anyone gets close to this, they end up dead. So we found a way, because we're geniuses, to solve this and pass it on to the next genius in secret without anyone knowing. And most people don't know. The people who do know are the geniuses who have figured it out, found it, and are tracking it. Now, some people, a lot of people are onto it, but they have no idea what it is. It's the story code. It is the genius game. Let's call it the genius game. So I have the entire path, the full sequencing, the entire strategical, the catalyst. I've got it all. And you can play the game and you can put the pieces together and figure it out. The other option, which does not include the game, because there are two different stories here, is the self journey. The self journey completely excludes the genius game from all of this, which is okay. You don't need to play the genius game, but it's really fucking fun if you're a nerd and you love Easter eggs. So you have two options. Well, you have a few options. You can play, well, you can, first of all, you can do nothing. That's your first option. You can do nothing. The second thing you can do is, if you do have the awareness virus, you can figure it out for yourself. Start from scratch. You can figure it out from yourself. The next option is, I have for free the first 6 ethical stages, basically let's call it 25% of the journey for free. It's 25. The first 25% of the journey is free. And that lays out everything to you. So you can start getting started, and it will give you literally everything you need to get to the 6th ethical perspective. That is Triadic Healing, Part 1A. And that is on the link available below. The next thing is you can combine, you can play the genius game. Now, playing the genius game is going through the self journey. It is. So you can just play the genius game and have a blast with it. Well, it's a trial. There's 24 trials. It's going to be fucking difficult. But it can be less difficult if you're not starting from scratch. So that's one option. The other option is you can do both. You can play the genius game and you can do the Triadic Healing Part 1. And that allows you to get literally the big picture. Now, there's going to be multiple choices for you to make along the way. And there is no wrong answer. There is no right or wrong. So that's one of the big things, is get rid of the concept of right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. Okay. Everyone is right. That's it. What you believe is right. That's really the takeaway from all of this, is whatever you believe is 100% correct. Is right. It's true. And it's correct. However, if you want it to be, it can also be changed. That's really important. If you want it to be, then your beliefs can be changed. If you don't want them changed, well, then they won't be changed. That's your choice. You have to choose which beliefs you want to have, keep, or change, or adjust a little bit. You can even adjust them a little bit. And you have 100% control and choice over all of those. So when you hear other people telling you what they think or what they believe, you can literally be like, you don't have to choose that. You can absolutely choose that. I think everyone has been needing this permission or this validation. Your beliefs are 100% correct, and you need to choose when or if at all you want to change them, adjust them, leave them as is. Now, as you go through the genius game and triadic healing, you are going to have to decide which of your beliefs are still valid for you and which ones you've outgrown. That's a really good way of putting it. Sometimes we outgrow our beliefs. And you're the only one who can decide this. You are the only one who can decide if you have outgrown your beliefs. And that takes courage. And you don't have to. You don't have to change any beliefs. You can hold on to those. You can keep them. You can do whatever you want. Your choice. But when you do go through triadic healing, it's going to present you with some questions. This is the self journey. That's going to make you look at your beliefs and have a nice sit down talk with your beliefs, which a lot of people really do need. A nice sit down chat with your beliefs, a nice sit down. We're going to call it a nice sit down. A nice sit down. Now you might have a nice sit down, but your subconscious mind might become really, really aggressive and like, yeah, well, that's a whole nother story. We cover that in triadic healing. I was talking to my girlfriend yesterday, and we had this moment where the conversation kept getting derailed and it kept going all over the place, and we kept getting interrupted. And I finally said, I need to have we're going to talk. And I just talked to her subconscious mind for about 5 minutes. Just her subconscious mind. I'm like, identity, sit down. Conscious awareness, I need you to be quiet for a moment. I'm going to talk to the subconscious mind. So I talked to her subconscious mind for about 5 minutes. And then afterward, she cried. And she asked me one question. And for about an hour, I was able to talk to her without her subconscious mind interfering with the conversation. She said to me, this was her one question, the subconscious mind is a saboteur. Yep. I've known that for a long time because I had 4 alters. In fact, that's what multiple personality disorder is your subconscious mind is a saboteur. All subconscious minds are. They are saboteurs. They are sentient saboteurs. And they are highly logical sentient saboteurs. So if you do not know that your subconscious mind is a logical sentient saboteur, you are going to trust your subconscious mind a whole lot. And it never occurred to me that people didn't know this. Born a multiple. Well, I wasn't born a multiple, but I lived with multiple personalities for 32 years. So I am really familiar with how the subconscious mind weaponizes itself against you. There's no other words for it. It weaponizes itself against you for self-preservation purposes. It's a self-destruct button. Its ultimate self-preservation is actually self-destruction. Well, it thinks it's helping. It's not very logical. In this sense, anyway, it's not very logical. It's doing its best. The problem is the subconscious mind is not supposed to be doing this. The subconscious mind is supposed to be preserving the self. It's not supposed to be managing and operating the self. That's not what it's for. The conscious awareness is supposed to be doing that. But the conscious awareness, you have never received the manual to do this. So as a result, the subconscious mind is trying to do the job of both self-preservation and management. And it can't, because it's really bad at management and operations. That is what you are supposed to be learning. How do we the right knowledge? The right knowledge is in the Genius Game and also in Triadic Healing. So as you go through either or both, the Genius Game and or the journey into the self, you end up getting the operating manual. You end up learning the operating manual. Now, I don't hide it from you. I come right out and I say, here's the manual, people. Here it is. I make it real fucking easy because this is fucking hard. So, you know, and for people who are like, well, fuck this shit. I'm done with trying to figure this out from scratch. So here's the manual. And I don't sugarcoat this. I don't hide it. I don't leave it for code. I mean, if you want to play the Genius Game, I do that for those people. But if you want the straightforward, no bullshit answer, try to healing. It's literally the no bullshit path. So that's it, really. That's it. You can go the no bullshit path, or you can solve the riddle. Because I'm both. I love riddles in the dark. So I am huge on, I got to clarify this. I love riddles first and foremost. But after I'm done with the riddle, I want to understand. I want no BS. Just give it to me straight. And that's it. That's it. So we have give it to you straight. That is Triadic Healing. If you don't want the bullshit, if you've already been on your healing journey for God knows how fucking long and you're tired of it, I got the no bullshit answers right here. And if you love riddles and games and challenges and puzzles, and if you want the satisfaction of figuring out the clues and putting them together, I've got the nerd jizz happening. So if you want either one of those, I have them. You can do both. Like I said, you can do both. And they are absolutely two separate stories. So you're not, okay, so here's, yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. The Genius Game or the story game, yeah, they call it the Genius Game. If you, either one will work, but yeah, the story code, the Genius Game, the story game, use your discretion about who, if you're around somebody who's very sensitive about their intelligence, then don't call it the Genius Game, call it the story game. But among other people, yeah, you can call it the story game, or you can call it the Genius Game. And I call it the Genius Game because every genius in all of history has played this game. The story game is, so what it is there's a story code. That's it. And you are basically looking for a story code. And that's all I'm going to say because spoilers. So here's what we're going. Here's what's going on. Is there's going to be an easy version and then there's the hard version. So if you want to complicate or make the game harder for you, then that's going to basically just play the game. Just play the game. Don't do Triadic Healing. If you want the easy version of the game, then absolutely do Triadic Healing with it. And if there's a medium, I'm trying to figure out if there's a medium level. And yes, there is a medium level. No, there is a medium level, but I'm not going to tell it. That's part of the game. There's the medium level. There you go. If you want the medium level, you're going to have to solve the riddle. So here's how it works. If you want to play the game, it's literally joining my Dungeons and Dragons game. Now, this is not like, I can't call it Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, it's free, so I guess I can. So here's how this works. Here's absolutely how this works. Yeah, and there's no, all right. It is literally a Dungeons and Dragons game or an RPG game without a DM. There's no DM. You're on your own. There's a quest giver, and I can give you clues. And that's about it. You're going to have to do the rest. And if you want to play the game, contact me, and we'll go from there. And that's all I'm going to say. That's just, I'm going to leave that alone. There it is. And the first question I'm going to ask, if you are interested in playing the game, is you've played Dungeons and Dragons in the material plane. You've played RPGs in the material plane. You've done scavenger hunts in the material plane. Have you ever played one in the abstract? Because I've got this one in the abstract. So you can play this one, but you're going to have to actually play it in the abstract. And this is where it's going to take on an entirely different meaning. You could argue that you've been playing it in the abstract the entire time, and this time you're going to be playing it in the material plane. You know what? I'm going to let you figure that out. That's going to be one of the things you have to figure out. Are you playing it in the abstract, or are you playing it in the material plane? Because whichever one you've been doing up to this point, you're about to do the opposite. So it's the opposite. It's the other side. So that's all I'm going to say about that. If you want to join the game, if you want the next clue, and that's basically what it is. If you want the next clue, contact me and I will be emailing you and giving you the next clue. This is going to be automated. So as I get this up and rolling, it's going to be, yeah. My friends are already playing it. I already have a few people already on board. So the material's already, like, I've got the first few. It's set. You'll see. So, yeah, I'm enjoying this. If you want to cut the game, as I said, and if you want to just no bullshit, then try to Keeling is what you would want to go with. So I am still, thinking. I'm still thinking. I think that's all I have to say about this while I just process everything, because there was a lot that was discovered yesterday and I'm still trying to sort it all out. So thank you. And may the kindest of words always find you.